reflect that the Maverick County Commissioners Court has now been called to order. Today, this is a regular meeting for Wednesday, June 11th, 2025. It is 5:03 p.m. There has been an establishment of quorum with all members of the court present. At this time, we have citizens' communications and recognitions. There is two citizens' communications forms that have been submitted, and there's also one recognition for a proclamation, which is for Elder Abuse Awareness Month. I believe Mr. Orlando Lerma is present. Mr. Lerma, how are you? As well as the team that is present with you all. Let me go ahead and read this in, and then right now we'll call you all up. Okay. So I'd like to read this into the official county record of this proclamation. Please, Commissioners Court, with your permission, we'll begin. Whereas older adults and people with disabilities of diverse backgrounds contribute to the well-being of the city by working, caregiving, volunteering, and actively pursuing what is customs, rituals, and traditions. And whereas as we age, we build momentum and accumulating knowledge, experience, insight, and wisdom, and can be shared to enrich our community. And whereas the abuse of older adults and people with disabilities is a community concern affecting thousands of people across Texas. And whereas abuse affected more than 123,852 older adults and people with disabilities in Texas in 2024. And whereas abuse against older adults and people with disabilities is grossly underreported because of the social stigma, embarrassment, and fear. And whereas adult abuse affects men and women of all income and ability levels, all cultural and ethnic backgrounds, in all communities. And whereas elder abuse is everyone's business, it's important to strengthen our efforts to prevent, report, and address elder abuse. Now, therefore, I, Ramsey Mishkantu, County Judge of Maverick County, together with and on behalf of Commissioners Court and the people of Maverick County, do hereby proclaim the month of June 2025 as Elder Abuse Awareness Month, and encourage all residents in Maverick County, including Eagle Pass, Quemado, Normandy, and El Indio, Texas, to work together to reduce abuse and neglect of older adults and people with disabilities. In witness hereof, I hereunto set my hand and cause the seal of the County of Maverick to be affixed this 11th day of June 2025. Mr. Lerma, and of course to your team, if you all care to join us up front, and we'll go ahead and get this turned over to you. Please, thank you all for what you do. We truly appreciate it. If you care to come around this way, we'll get you up on the
Yes, this way. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Roxy.
Yes,
sir.
Oh, right here. Yes. Okay, there we go. We'll go ahead and put onto this one.
Yes.
Perfect. Commissioners, everybody in? And if you care to say a few words.
Yes, I want to thank you all, first of all, Your Honor, and Commissioners Court for having us here this afternoon. As you all know, elder abuse is something very serious, and me and myself and Mr. Rodriguez here, we have another co-worker, Lorena Gonzalez, who's also very engaged in the community. We want to bring the awareness aware because, like the judge said, it's it's not reported as much, and our role is to help and not just stick people in nursing homes. We also pay bills. We can also help with medications, and we ask the community for the awareness that way you guys can help us out whatever y'all can to call in cases.
And where are y'all located?
We're located at 1593 South Veterans Boulevard, where the food stamp office is at. But our number, and I'll leave it to the judge, is 1-800-252-5400. And it goes directly to Austin, and then from there, you follow the prompts to make a report.
Well, we appreciate all that you do,
yes,
and
sir.
of course in making sure that our seniors in our community go and have the necessary assistance during difficult times like this. So once again, to the team with Adult Protective Services, please let's give them a hand for what they're doing. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
At this time, we have two citizens' communications that have been submitted. We'll go ahead and start off with Ms. Constable Cecilia Maldonado. Ms. Maldonado, if you care to approach the podium.
Hello, good afternoon, everybody. I'm Constable Maldonado, Ceci Maldonado, and I'm just here. I just want to ask support from Commissioner Precinct 1, 2, 3, and 4, Long Beach County Judge, on the purchasing of a new unit. I do have the item on this agenda. So once it's open, if you have any questions, I'll be staying for my items. I do have 4 units with my precinct right now. 2 are in the shop right now. One is the one that's making it work. The charger AC is not working. We know how fortunate he is. So we have our main objective here is to keep our county and our precinct 1 and our neighboring precincts safe, but also at the end of the day is to make sure that our officer safety and to make sure that they do make it home back to their families as well. And having units not working properly, it's a fine for our department. Uh, so I just want to ask y'all personally if y'all could help me and support me in purchasing a unit for our precinct. So like I say, the item is on this agenda for today. So if y'all have any questions, please feel free to ask me and I'll be
Thank you,
Thank
Ms.
you.
Maldonado. The next individual that we have is Heriberto Hernandez. Mr. Hernandez, you care to approach the podium, please?
Good afternoon, Judge, Commissioners. My name is Heriberto Hernandez. I am the owner and operator for War Drive Armory LLC. It's a local gun shop here in town. We do custom builds and customization of firearms. What I'm here to talk to you about is an expansion of that business is for a tactical training facility. So in dealing with law enforcement professionals with the federal agencies, I've noticed that there's a gap in their training and having a facility to train at. So in doing my research, I came and talked to Mr. Garza over at the inspector's office, and he suggested I come and talk to y'all and let y'all know about the project. So there will be structures, platforms for long distance shooting out to 900 yards approximately. There will be a shoot house where the officers can practice their room clearances and things of that nature. And then there will be a handgun range. For the future plan, there will be a dedicated K9 training area as well as a vehicle training area where they can do vehicle extractions, where they can do vehicle interdiction and that type of things. So pertinent to any questions that you may have of me.
Very well. Thank you, Mr. Hernandez. We will take your comments, of course, and I know that if ever the commissioners have any questions, they can always reach out. So we'll make sure and provide your information to them. Thank you so much. Being that there are no further citizen communication forms submitted, we're going to move forward with the public hearing. Mr. Reese, you are present, correct? We'll go ahead and move forward with opening up the public hearing for the public input and deliberation on the proposed Maverick County Parks grant application and potential projects. Let the record reflect that the court will open this public hearing on Wednesday, June 11th, 2025 at 5:11 p.m. Mr. Reese, if you can please inform us on the court now.
Good afternoon, Judge and Commissioners. We had this item on our last agenda as well, our last meeting, and it's again just to solicit some input from the public as far as our grant application process will be for the Texas Parks and Wildlife outdoor local parks grant. We do have currently also a survey is being distributed. We've received 138 responses so far, but we encourage everybody else, if you haven't filled out the survey, please do so. The project that we are interested in applying for, of course, is a project that we already applied for last year, which is the all-inclusive playground at Precinct 3 in Elm Creek Park. This application did score very well, just not enough to get funded last cycle because there was an unprecedented amount of applications submitted. We were recommended by the Texas Parks and Wildlife grant manager to, if we wanted to resubmit, that he thought that getting some assistance in the application would really take us past that little threshold and give us some extra points towards getting approved funding. So we're just trying to, we weren't able to get any word from the public last meeting, so we're trying again to see if we can get anybody that is interested to submit some public input, aside from the survey that, again, we do have distributing right now on social media.
Are there any questions from the court regarding the process? I know that it's been moving along. Like Mr. Grease did mention, there has been a lot that's been coming in from the specific surveys that have been being reported. I was really happy to see that the community has been responding to those surveys.
I've seen that many other entities have also shared. The City of Eagle Pass. I saw the All Inclusive nonprofit that's here. They also been able to share. It is getting some circulation, and the more input we get to show the need, the community need down here, since we do not have an all-inclusive park right now in the county. I think that just helps us build a stronger case for funding.
Great. Questions from the court? No. Is there anyone from the audience who wishes to address? Yes, ma'am. If you can just identify yourself for the purpose of the record. Identify yourself.
This is Claudia Ventus, and I want to ask if we're going to be able to get the survey and the application today, since this is the public hearing, and we need to have input. We need to know what's in the application. We would like to see what is going on in there so we can have input. And then I also, if we're gonna have input, I'm wondering if we're gonna have another hearing, because we haven't seen the documentation, so what input can we put in?
So it's my understanding, if it's what all of the information has been provided online, correct, through social media, the county website, and the county's Facebook pages, they all have what is the information, correct, where any individual can come in, fill out the survey, see the application, and what we're actually applying for. Is that correct?
Correct.
So
Okay.
you're gonna send me to go and look for it, or can I?
If it's readily accessible online, or if you wish to get a copy, we can get one for you.
Okay, what's the name of it?
The name of it?
No, it's if you go to if you go on our social media platform, let's say if you go on Facebook, you're actually going to see that there will be a link on there that will list the parks grant. And once you click on that link, it'll take you to the actual survey.
What is the identification number for this specific grant?
Do you want to get her that information?
Yeah, the only thing is that right now we're barely building the application. The application is due August 1st. What we're thinking of doing, and it's not set in stone yet, is applying for the same grant application that we applied for last year. Unfortunately, last year it was not funded, but Texas Parks and Wildlife took a special consideration to the grant because of the components in it. And what it is basically having a playscape or playground that is all accessible, so people with all abilities will be able to play side by side.
So for the record, we don't have the application for this.
We have last year's application available. I think you can get that if you request it from Public Information Act. That one is available. What we submitted last year, but right now we're currently building for this year's application.
So you're saying no?
I'm saying that it's in
last year is last year's, but this year is this year.
Right.
So what I'm asking is, what are we looking at for this year? I know that there's applications that happened 10 years ago.
Correct.
And they changed dramatically. So I want to see what changes, if any, and I'm sure there will be, because things change from one year to the next. So we don't have an application from last year, for this year, yet we're being presented and with an application that does not exist.
No, actually, what we're doing right now is soliciting information from the public that we're going to use to build the application. Now, like I mentioned, that not necessarily do we go this route. Now, if the public says we need some other park over there, and if it's better, the community need is there and it's a stronger application, then we may go that route. But this is the typical process, especially when you deal with Texas Parks and Wildlife, Texas CDBG, that they have public commentary prior to the application so that we can build the application.
Okay, so, but you have gotten the survey.
The survey is available online. We print it out for you, of course. The only thing is that we won't be able to submit it. You have to submit it online. It's an online format type of
What is
survey.
the identification of that survey online?
It's on job form. I don't know the exact links off the top of my head, but I do have it in my phone and I can share that with you. I can
So
send
is
to you
it
right now.
this link
Yes,
that's on
I
here?
believe so.
Very well. So basically, Ms. Hernandez, if you go to the county's Facebook page, you will be able to see everything that is specific. And we're talking, it's about, if we look down, you're going to see this link on the page. And if there's going to be an actual thing, a link here that says click the link, and you can get all the information. I understand. Right now, I'll make sure that Mr. Reese provides you that information so that you get it to you and that you can fill out anything online, which all your comments are taken and comprised together.
So when's the next public hearing for comments?
Is there additional public hearings that the grant is requesting at this time, Mr. Reese?
No.
Okay.
I mean,
We've had 2 public hearings already?
correct. Two
Okay.
public hearings and the survey.
Okay. And the survey, of course, is also taken for, give me 1 second, Ms. Hernandez. In reference to, let's say, the actual survey. So public comments that are given here can be given here, and everything that the surveys bring in is considered within that public comment as well, correct?
Correct. Well, we're going to
Okay.
submit that as supporting documentation.
Station with that. Okay,
So
so
you're not gonna give us a public hearing with the comments. I mean, I know what legally is required, I know that. But we're coming here and asking you, do we get to have another hearing so that you can listen to our, or is this just to meet the requirement and forget the comments? Because that's what I'm feeling like right now.
no, I wouldn't say that.
Really, we're required. When was the last time we had the first hearing?
The last meeting we had it.
On this grant?
Correct. Yeah, the Texas Parks and Wildlife, understand what you're saying. They would require for us to do 1 public hearing. When I met with the judge afterwards, he thought that wasn't sufficient since we didn't have comment. And so that's why we had this public hearing, and we also opened it up for a survey, which was recommended by Texas Parks and Wildlife, because we typically don't have too many people coming in to do public comments such as yourself. So we're going a little bit above and beyond what is required legally.
So we're not given any chance to today to comment because we don't have it here, and you don't have a something that we can comment on.
I'd be inclined, and I think the court would be inclined, because, like I said, this is not the only way that any comments can be given to the courts for the court's consideration. Once the application is considered and drafted, all of that's going to be taken in, reported to the court. Once the actual application obviously is submitted to or considered for submission to this court, we want to make sure that all of the items that are discussed, whether in public session or in actual survey format, that all of that is taken into consideration. So today, what I would recommend, Mr. Reese, is that you can provide Mrs. Hernandez a copy of what she is requesting for the purpose of the actual survey, if she needs it in actual copy format, and then provide her the link. That way she can go ahead and just provide and actually fill in her comments there. Comments will still be taken into consideration either way, whether it's publicly here, whether it's the actual survey. Our intention is just to make sure that everything is documented so that a well thought out application can be submitted to the Texas Parks and Wildlife Department.
When you say survey, is it a survey of governments or survey
It's
geographic?
no, it is a survey specifically, and Mr. Reese, if you wish to explain what the survey entails.
Yes, the survey asks several questions, not just geared toward this application, but in parks in general. So the objective of it is to try to get the input from the public of where Maverick County needs to focus on in parks. It does also have sections there where you can write out in detail, you know, you can type out whatever you think, anything else that you should consider. But one of the things that we did want to put on there is an option if yes or no if people would like to see the all inclusive park out there at Elm Creek Park, because that, like I said, we submitted it last year and the scoring was competitive. So they asked us, and typically this is what happens with Texas Parks and Wildlife. You may not get the application the first time funded, but if you go back with one of their workshops, deal with them and they'll tell you exactly what, you know, hey, you're missing points here, you're missing points there. And then from there, you improve your application. In this instance, if you let me finish real quick, we had an example with a co-op grant that we have out there in Precinct 3. The first time we applied for it, we didn't get funded. But we went to one of these workshops, we got the application critique, we understood where we needed to get extra points from. We applied this year, or in 2024, and we were able to get it funded this year. So that is our intent with this.
So the survey relates to comments, but not to the geographical area.
No, it's just specifically if you would like to see that all-inclusive park playground in there in the Elm Creek, which is one of the projects that we applied for last year. So we're trying to build a community need for that, demonstrate it, but it also provides for the for public comment about any other park if you need to comment.
What's the survey about? Comments or the survey that we do to locate?
That is not the second one you're saying, it's not that type of survey.
Okay, so it's a survey of comments
Correct.
from the public.
Correct. Public input comments or survey, I mean. Sorry, we
Very well.
that.
Okay, so with that, Mr. Reese, if you can provide that information, I would ask that you get that over to Ms. Hernandez and make sure that we can have that for her so that she can review that. As I encourage, of course, just like any individual in this courtroom or those that are still that may be watching this court proceeding, that you attend or that you review what is the social media platforms for Maverick County, and that you help look at this survey or pretty much fill out the survey. It is a specific survey asking specific questions, this one being specifically towards Elm Creek. I ask for this community to come out and continue providing your feedback as we explore, of course, the development of an all-abilities playground at Elm Creek Park. So with that being said, is there any other individual in the court that wishes to address? Yes, Ms. Diaz?
Thank you, Your Honor. Commissioner's Court. I just have a couple of three questions and I think y'all will answer them right quick. I'm interested in finding out how the county acquired the property at Elm Creek so that a park can be built there. Who owned it or when were the deeds given to the county? When did this happen? And I'm not trying to go down the Commissioner's Court, but I do know that a lot of work that has been done in the Elm Creek area. A lot of people, including me, I'm not aware. I know Elm Creek has never been private property belonging to the county, even to the state of Texas. The only property area that has ever belonged to them has been the area that was deeded by the property owners, which is adjacent to where the bridge is, because they need to build that bridge in itself where the concrete level is. That area belongs to the state highway department for improvement of bridge and whatever. But the rest for the water drains, who owned the property? When did Maverick County become owner of that property? where are the deeds, if any? Who donated it to the county? And the other, if I could get that provided. I know there's been a lot of criticism, including me. I may be wrong, but I've never known that Maverick County ever owned any part of Elm Creek. Because even when they developed the land at Elm Creek property, my husband then, Richard Lane, and I, we were the surveyors that did all that. And the people owned, some of them, as the creek rounds around, some people owned part of the creek and some didn't, because it's not a natural, it's not a, what do you call it? It's not a natural drain, it was overflow in the canal. And of course, when it rains a lot. But it was private property, the same thing as the Seco Creek. The Seco Creek also belongs to the people that had property adjacent to the creek. That's another question idea for the future. When did the county become owner of all that creek area where the railroad was going to be built? I need to know those things as a taxpayer, as a voter, as a citizen. The other question I have, Mr. Isaac, and I want to give you credit. You've been working your butt off, excuse the language. You've been doing an excellent job. Nothing on you. How much is this grant from the Texas Parks and Wildlife?
The limit or how much we're
No, how much are you requesting on that application?
Right now, I believe last year's application came around to around 400,000.
Okay,
Right now, we haven't determined that because of the pricing of the equipment and all that stuff that we're going to do. So again, we're building the application right now. It's due August the 1st. Right now, we're building where we lack points at, which is community need. But we're thinking of submitting a similar project, so it's going to be around that city.
okay, now, the other question, and you have just admitted that the figures are changing on the amount of the grant. You're still kind of trying to see how much.
Correct,
So
because
you're not sure, so it did change from last year. So obviously, we need everything that you're applying for. We need it today at this hearing, not tomorrow, not yesterday, because the moment you change one item, then application is dead. Now you may alter it for future purposes, but we as the public, on a public hearing, we need to know exactly how much money you're requesting, what are you going to use it for, what are the details, how much for, let's say, playground equipment, for drainage if you may, for water lines, for water fountains, whatever it is. You know, I know that you have to separate the money into line items until you come to the total.
correct.
We don't have that. How can we
Yes.
make a comment? No, we need 5 water fountains when we don't have anything at all today. Nothing at all. Other than we're here and there's no information available because you're not ready. What's the purpose of the public hearing if we don't have the document to be able to question the issues that are attached to the application? We need to know. We have a right to know.
Thank you.
Now, on this approximately 400,000, I know that you've been working very hard with grants, and most of them carry a 50% match, especially from parks and wildlife. It varies, but most of them are 50%. Where are you getting the money to match this?
Yeah,
I know, and the reason I'm asking you, I said, is because there was some time ago, last year, the year before, where you could apply for all these grants, and you get to work, an excellent job. But then they were considering canceling them because the county couldn't come up with a match.
Do you know what specific grant that was?
No, not right off the bat. I just got out of the hospital, but I can tell you later. I can call you and tell you exactly what it was.
Yeah, so
But
that's the
eventually
first
they
time I
came
hear
through.
about that.
Eventually they came through. But you even announced that you were on the verge of losing that. You said it on Facebook. But I'll tell you which one it is later.
You can send me that information.
So I'm trying to find out where is the match coming from and how many other grants are you applying for to improve Elm Creek and all the north area possible? They're gonna require a match. If that money
So,
is not on the county budget,
Ms. Diaz, give me 1 quick second. Let me go ahead and interject here real quick. The purpose of the public hearing is obviously to obtain needs of the specific parks. If there are specific questions regarding what is the application, whether there is what is the funding, whether it's the match, you have every right to submit what is an open records request to go ahead and ask that concern. However, at this point in time, Ms. Diaz, what I am asking, of course, at this time is the purpose of the input of parks needs. That's what we're addressing. So in this purpose, with you, of course, requesting specifics of matters of deeds or who donated it, things of that nature, that's going beyond the realm of the actual public hearing. But what I'm taking your questions and of course your concerns into consideration. We'll be happy to be able to provide that if you wish to submit that in writing. My only concern is that we need to stick to the point of the actual application, which is, like I said, an application to determine what needs are actually being seen in this park, in any other park that you may see. Based on the survey, you see that specifically mentioned on that survey. I invite you. I know that, of course, that you have had the opportunity to see many things that you've mentioned that apparently through Facebook you've seen Mr. Reese on there. So I would encourage you to actually go to our Maverick County Facebook page, look at the surveys, and see what the intent is at this point. This is obviously the information that is getting us to the point of actually making sure that we can submit what is a competitive grant. It does not mean that we are getting the grant. It is the submission of the grant. But I will take pride in the work, as you have mentioned, of what Mr. Reese has done, because technically, how many years, Mr. Reese, has it been since we've received a grant from the Texas Parks and Wildlife Department?
Since the 1990s.
Okay, so when this county is doing above and beyond, I think that the commissioners, as well as the community, through their requests that are being made and through what is being seen, we are seeing another grant from Texas Parks and Wildlife that is benefiting Precinct 4 with the rehab of the matters that have gone going on with the boxing center and gym there. There's a lot of projects that are ongoing right now, and I just want to make it very much clear that if your comments are directed to needs at the park and what you are seeing there, I will gladly, of course, take those comments there. But for specifics on anything that is regarding outside the scope of the application, I just need to make sure that we stay on target for the purpose of the public hearing. Okay?
if I may reply,
Yes.
and you don't believe that the ownership of the property is part of the application?
Everything that is specific on that matter is obviously, it lies back to Maverick County, ma'am. So and I'll be more than happy to, if you would like to submit that concern, and if you'd like to submit that in an open records request, please feel free to do so.
I will answer you this, Judge, and I will answer you in all due respect. I can request these documents, public information, for the longest time. And I've waited, even though the law does not require 10 days, it has 10 days for you all to call the Attorney General for an opinion. And
Ms.
days,
Ms. Diaz,
8 months ago,
Ms.
you
Diaz,
have told them not to give us anything.
Ms. Diaz, let me be very clear, because anything that you have, and I'll be glad to place any document that you've requested from my office, even on through my social media, so that people can see that every document that you've requested, you've gotten. Okay? Well, I'm sorry, ma'am, but I beg to differ. So with that being said, if there is no further comment on public hearings for the needs of the park, is there anything specific? You may continue with the needs of the park now.
Well, I want to know if I request those things from your whoever secretary, when can I get them?
As soon as they're available through the open records request.
Less than 10 days.
Whatever the request is that you're asking for. It's what the request is. Thank you, Ms. Diaz. Is there anything further, ma'am?
Yes, so what I'm gathering is you're not you don't have a park or a place or say this area needs a park, but you're saying send us $500,000 and then we'll decide where to build a park.
Miss
That's not.
Miss Hernandez, that's nowhere near. No. And I think that what I'm going to do is I'm going to, if you do, you have a specific concern with the actual needs of any park in Maverick County, ma'am? Is my question as far as pertaining to the actual public hearing. Do you have a concern with what you would like to, but what you would like to see as far as the county parks?
I would like to know if you're asking for a specific a park for a specific area, or are you asking for money and then decide where you're going? Okay, I see your head shaking. You tell me, because I don't know.
It's because that's not how the process works.
Exactly.
You have to have a project and an application, and then the way Ms. Diaz mentioned, there's line items for every everything you need, and then we submit that with the application. Right now, what we're doing is just soliciting from the public. What are your needs in parks wise? Or do you support the application from that we had last time? Yes or no? And what other concerns do you have?
I'm going to have to ask for you to please place your phone on silent, ma'am.
We'll get that information later, where it's going to go to.
Of course, yeah. I mean, whenever we submit the application and it's done, it's available for you guys to see. I mean, all applications are. So that's public information.
Okay.
Very well. Is there any other member of the public that wishes to address the court based on these items? Members of the court? Very well. Then let the record reflect that we will close this public hearing at 5:39 p.m. at Wednesday, June 11th, 2025. Thank you, Mr. Reese. Moving forward to consent items for the court. Members of the court, you all have 7 items that are being presented in consent agenda. If the court wishes to have any of these items removed from consent agenda, you may do so at this time. If not, is there a motion to approve the consent agenda as it's been presented? Motion has been made by Commissioner Reese. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Rios. Discussion? Being that there is none, all those in favor, please raise your right hand. Unanimous. Very well. Moving on to regular items. Number 8, County Department monthly reports. Are there any questions regarding any of the reports that have been submitted by the court here today, specifically? Mr. Guevara, I would just ask, is everything, I know that last night's rainfall, I want to thank you, of course. I know that the team was out doing a tremendous job, and I just wanted to personally point that out. Our EOC team yesterday did a tremendous job altogether. Mr. Chavez, who was there, along with Mr. Perez, Mr. Garcia, and did I miss anybody on the EOC side that was out there? I appreciate the work that y'all are doing. When it comes down to rainfalls, we want to make sure that our residents are informed readily. And I know that y'all were out there blocking off areas to make sure that placing barricades and necessary roadways that may have caused for additional high water. So I just wanted to personally say thank you. Is there anything that we need to know as far as the court from yesterday's rain activity?
Didn't get no house flooding, so it was a tremendous bonus for us. And all the canales came. West residents actually putting in trash near the canales. I mean, we did go out there, especially in precinct 2
Yes.
and Robinson. We were attacking that area. I believe last rainfall that we had, we had a truck going into the canal as well.
Yes.
We kept the resident out, we pulled them out as well. So basically, our canals right now are getting a pretty good flow.
Very well. Questions from the court regarding any other department question?
No, I just want to thank them because I know they cleared 2-3 trees that had broken and they were on the street. They reported them to me. Thank you for addressing that.
Yes, and I want to add on also, Mr. Guevara, thank you so much for helping us. I know it's a tremendous task, especially over here in Precinct 2. I'm glad that you guys have been looking out for the canals as I have asked. Thank you so much for that. And I know that has helped out tremendously. So thank you for being on task. And I'm glad that we did it with time because that alleviates a lot of the problems. Thank you.
Perfect. Any other questions for any other department?
Yes, I have a question. We received the report from the auditor, but I noticed it's March, right? We're a little bit behind on those. And I just wanted to,
Apologize for our reports are a little different times since we haven't had an auditor and then trying to catch up. So in the next month, I hope to bring you up to date with April and
Based on this report, so it's June, is there any areas of concern that we should be looking at? Um, one of my biggest concerns is road and bridge. Are we on track on road and bridge? Because I see this is March, but now it's June. We might have gotten more revenue.
And as far as June,
Judge.
I haven't been able
Yes.
to
You sign
look
on the
at,
agenda?
but we're,
It's monthly department report. You want to do it now? Yes.
so normally on our expenditure, if there's any income or anything, they'll let us know, and we still have time to make adjustments.
Okay.
So, for the next meeting, I'll make sure and I get you up to that date.
And if not, and yeah.
Do as to where each department stands at that.
Correct. And I would ask that if we can at least get that maybe before the commissioners court meeting, so that way we have an actual opportunity to review this completely. I would ask the court that if you have any questions regarding what we're seeing specifically on the department or the financial reports that are being submitted by the auditor, that if there are any specific questions, that once we have fully reviewed the report that's been submitted by that department, that we meet with Ms. Barrientos one-on-one to discuss this, and of course, hopefully be brought up to the necessary reporting period that's been set for the next one. Hopefully, you won't have that much. You've already had the new auditor hired, correct?
Yes, he'll be starting on Monday.
Okay.
We're fixing to wrap up both our audits for the landfill and the county. So that should be, or it's supposed to be presented on the 25th.
Mm-hmm.
So right now, we're pretty tied up with that, and then any urgent issue that comes up is for payroll. This is a payroll week as well. So it's been
It's fun times in Maverick County.
so I do apologize for the delay report.
Very well. Thank you, Ms. Barrientos. Any other questions?
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Valdez, did we get a? Do we
Yes,
get a
the
report?
yes.
We do have it. It's
Yep.
on the.
The report was submitted to. Yep.
I just couldn't find it.
You gave the report a couple of days ago. No? Did you give that report a couple of days ago? Was that part of it?
So it's not here, right, Judge?
Yes, it should be.
It should be.
Okay.
We don't have it.
No, this one will be provided. Correct. It was just provided today.
Rito, is there any areas of concern that we need to be looking at, or everything's okay? I noticed that we ran into. I know that we, about a month and a half ago, 2 months ago, we ran into an issue with the insurance where the employees were calling us that it was not paid. I want to know if we're not going to have that issue again, and that's why I'm asking this question.
We're expecting some money refund from the GPA. It's something that we're working on.
Okay. And what is the balance on the insurance account? $57,000. And what's our premium amount that we have to pay?
Like 127.
Okay. So we're gonna have to come back and make budget amendments, Judge?
Yes.
To be able to
So
cover this?
let's, in regards to the insurance, and I know that we have some concerns. There's a meeting that we're pending with Mr. Rodriguez, the broker, on the insurance. There will be more than likely what is an item that will be coming before the court soon to address the matter for the insurance. I believe that in the recent, of course, since being that this is a self-funded insurance that we have through Maverick County, we have approximately, I believe, what is 2 employees that have gone through some major health concerns that will have to be addressed, and therefore we're going to have to make some modifications within the budget, which we've been in discussions with the auditor's office. I had a conference call specifically with the treasurer and the auditor this past week while we were at our judicial training to discuss what is the concern, and I think that by the next meeting we'll hopefully be seeing what is a new item coming before the court to address the matter and to go ahead and proceed with the next steps. But before we go ahead and move forward, we're making a full assessment as a budget officer before we can present something to the court.
How do we make sure that what happened 2 months ago where our employees were left without insurance doesn't happen again?
I don't think our employees were ever left without insurance
No,
on that.
they were.
No.
They were, and Mr. Rodriguez is aware because I called him. I had 2 employees call me that they couldn't get medical attention because the insurance was canceled. And I called Mr. Valdez. Mr. Valdez had made the payment on Friday, and it hadn't cleared by Monday. And then Monday after 12 noon, it finally cleared, and they were able to get the service they needed. That's a big concern that I have when our employees are calling me as an elected official and saying, I couldn't get service because of non-payment for our insurance.
The thing is, it's not that just the police. We have more claims than usual because of some of the employees that are very sick, and that's why it went down a little bit.
I understand that, but I just want to make sure, what does the court need to do so that this doesn't happen to our employees again? And with the numbers that we receive right now, we're headed for it to happen again if we don't have a meeting here soon.
Correct. And I believe, Commissioner, as I mentioned, the purpose of this and the purpose of the review of what is all that has to do with the numbers of the insurance is for our employees, which I made it very clear as far as the review with Mr. Rodriguez that the insurance has not been canceled, nor has it been, nor should have an employee ever been rejected any type of insurance. That, I can guarantee you, has not happened. But I will make note, and of course to this court, is that the items are coming before. We are reviewing what is the budget as we need to in order to make sure that we can go ahead and proceed with the next steps. This is an issue that is very important, not only, of course, to me, but to this court, to make sure that our employees are taken care of. And I just want to make it very, very clear that on this issue, we are currently reviewing all of the expenses, seeing what it is that needs to be reviewed from the budget, and to bring a necessary budget amendment to make sure that this is covered properly. But next budget cycle, we are preparing for that. We are looking, of course, at those needs and making sure that based on the actual amounts that for years the county has operated on this reimbursement process that has never truly funded what is a budget line item for additional payment to cover those matters. Now, mind you, these wouldn't be an issue if we would not be having these concerns, which when it comes down to the OLS operations that have utilized a lot of our deficit fund reduction funding, this wouldn't be an extreme concern for the court. And that's, of course, another issue that we'll be addressing at the next meeting, because while we're looking at these two issues, we've seen two major matters that we're looking at. One, the reimbursements of OLS funding that have not been submitted on time in order for us to have that additional request. And two, the concern of there being additional employees that have been higher than usual on claims for the purposes that they are going through necessary medical treatment. So I want to make it, very clear and to let you know as a commissioner and to this court that we are reviewing this, and we will hopefully have what is a response to this matter, hopefully by the next commissioner's court meeting. Okay? Very well. Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you, Mr. Valdez. Appreciate that.
Thank you. Is there anything further?
Yes.
And I think, is that the actual original, Commissioner?
Yes.
Yeah, let me just make sure that we keep one on record.
My other question, Judge, regarding the reports is for the Maverick County Housing Finance Corporation.
Mhm.
I know that there was no activity for May, so we're not going to get a report. But as for the other months, what I saw in the report is that we get a date and then the amount that is wired to one of our bank accounts,
Mhm.
correct?
Correct.
I want to see if we can receive on the monthly report if this information can be provided to me by Ms. Guillermina
Mhm.
as to the breakdown on how we are getting those monies. What belongs to the bond council, what belongs to the FA, and what belongs to Maverick County. So
Okay.
just for the next meeting or
Sure.
whenever it's available, if we could receive that information, that would be greatly appreciated.
Not a problem. Ms. Romero, if you can take note on that, please. Thank you.
And that's all I got, Judge.
Very well. Is there any further questions from the members of the court? Being that there is none, I will go ahead and then move forward with item number 9. Discussion and appropriate action to open a bank account for the awarded TCEQ solid waste grant for Maverick County. Department directors, if you don't have any items, y'all are excused. Yes.
Judge, Commissioners, this is just to open a bank account for the awarded TCEQ solid waste grant. The grant was for $9,505, and what we're using the funding for is to create signs for the cleanup campaign that are going to go in each individual precincts. We're hoping that these signs will better instruct our residents on the procedures and make sure, or at least attempt to reduce, illegal dumping and putting out trash outside of their allotted times. So we were awarded by Middle Rio Grande that acts as the middleman for TCEQ for that amount, and that's what we applied for. So we're just asking for the bank account to be open so we can go ahead and purchase the necessary material to make those signs and put them out.
Very well. Is there a motion to move forward with the opening of the bank account? Yes. Would it be specifically to the TCEQ solid waste? Yes.
On these, I know Mr. Isaac mentioned the specific amount, 9,509. So, do we already have a budget line item for this? Do we need to create and get a budget for this? Or does it go into the regular road and bridge?
No, we're going to create that account, and then there's going to be a budget amendment to fund that account.
And it's only one line item, right? It's only for operations.
Well, we couldn't provide the budget amendment because that's what we had talked to the auditing department about. And specifically during this meeting, we couldn't provide you with a budget amendment.
Right.
Because the bank account hasn't been opened.
Right, and just to make sure that we get the budget approved for this, we will need whatever line items you're gonna use. And basically on this one, it would just be material, so it would be operational.
Correct.
Just to make sure that when we do bring the amendment for the budget for approval, we identify the lines.
Very well. Is there a motion? Motion has been made by Commissioner Rios. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Morales. Discussion? Being that there is none, all those in favor, please raise your right hand. Unanimous. Item number 10, discussion and appropriate action to accept award from Texas Parks and Wildlife Department for the Recreational Trails Grant for Maverick County Lake. Mr. Reese?
Judge, Commissioners, this is just to accept congratulations. We were awarded another Texas Parks and Wildlife grant. This one is a recreational grant. This is the third one we've received from them this year. In the amount of $359,500. Our match will be $71,900, and the proposed project, of course, will be at the Maverick County Lake, where we're proposing to fix the current one, the current recreational trail we have there, and add an additional one that's going to be a smaller one within that one.
Oh, well.
So we will be able to have two.
Great. Is there a motion to proceed?
So moved.
Motion has been made by Commissioner Ramos. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Rios. Discussion? Just want to say thank you, Isaac. I know that we're working on some great projects for the lake, and this is going to be an exceptional addition to that. So thank you for that. Being that there is no further discussion on this item, all those in favor, please raise your right hand. Unanimous. Item number 11, discussion and appropriate action to open up a bank account for the acceptance of the award from Texas Parks and Wildlife Department for a recreational trails grant for the Maverick County Lake.
So moved.
Motion has been made by Commissioner Ramos. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Rios. Discussion? Being that there is, yes.
It just dawned on me, and it pertains to this item. On the match, is there available? Can we do in kind, or it has to be upfront funding?
In kind is available, but the way the grant was written right now, we do have it as a force account grant.
Okay.
So it would be, for anything to be in kind, it would be above and beyond that.
Okay.
What we already have established for the guys to be working.
For the guys there. Okay. Done. Thank you.
Perfect. If there's no further questions, I'll call for the question. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. Unanimous. Item number 12, discussion and appropriate action to approve abatement order number 137 for property at 1874 Lewis Street.
Judge, Commissioners, yes. I'm asking for the fees of the payment order 27 Lewis, which is fees. First notice was sent out October, second notice was sent out April, so it's been more than 40 days. I'm going to go ahead and proceed with the payment order.
Questions from the court? Not, is there a motion?
So moved, Judge.
Motion has been made by Commissioner Rios. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Reese. Discussion? Being that there is none, all those in favor, please raise your right hand. Unanimous. Item number 13, discussion and appropriate action to approve abatement order number 138 for property at 730 Progreso Street.
Same procedure, Judge. We're asking the court to approve the payment order.
Notices were sent out within the necessary time requirement.
Yes, sir. And the document.
There has been no response on that matter. Okay. This is considered public nuisance. Very well. Is there a motion?
So moved, Judge.
Motion has been made by Commissioner Reese. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Rios. Discussion? Being that there is none, all those in favor, please raise your right hand. Unanimous. Item number 14, discussion and appropriate action to approve the surplus list for Maverick County Sheriff's Office. List has been provided for your review. Are there any questions, comments, concerns with the surplus list? Is there a motion?
So moved, Judge.
Motion has been made by Commissioner Rios. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Reese. Discussion?
No, it's outdated stuff, ¿verdad?
Yes, I'm
Things that are
basically
not
just saying
working.
that there are minor issues from offices.
Okay.
Item number, well, we'll take this for a vote if there's no further discussion. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. Unanimous. Item number 15, discussion and appropriate action to enter into an agreement with Tofile Technologies to provide quick links light software and imaging services for our marriage index books in the Vitals Department at the County Clerk's Office to be paid by the Records Management Fund. Ms. Montemayor.
Judge, Commissioners, this is part of the restoration and preservation of our documents in the marriage or vitals department. We did this like a month or 2 months ago. I'm sorry, last year. This was done for our records, for birth records, and now we are working on our marriage records, and this will be to scan and upload all the indexes and marriage records into the system that we have right now so that we can preserve our documents. And this is going back all the way for the 1800s when the marriage records.
Got that many?
Yes.
All right.
I don't know what happened to the backup document that was sent out. It's for the amount of $16,336.89, and that money is paid from Records Management Fund that is collected through the county clerk's office.
Very well. Motion's been made by Commissioner Ramos. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Rios. Discussion? Being that there is none, all those in favor, please raise your right hand. Unanimous. Thank you so much, Ms. Montemayor. Item number 17, discussion and appropriate action to recognize revenue in the amount of $5,000 for a donation to the Vicamado Public Library. Commissioner Ramos?
Yeah, it's just a donation that was made from Southwest Valley Constructors for $5,000 for the Vicamado Public Library.
Very well. For the purposes of that, is there, for the auditing purposes, that is an item that's being placed under, is this the marketing fund for the library, or how do we have that set up?
For operation.
Operationals? Okay.
The library authorization again is that it's spent before 9:30 because then it just costs us much.
Okay.
Should be easy. It should be hard for you to spend $5,000 before the end of the year.
No, the librarian, and she already has a list. We're trying to put the kitchen there up to compliance status for the summer program next year. We need a sink, refrigerator, and so forth. So she's looking at that. I'm waiting for her recommendation so she can bring it to the office.
Very well.
And I'll keep you posted on that.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. Is there? No?
So moved.
Motion has been made by Commissioner Ramos. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Reese. Discussion? Being that there is none, all those in favor, please raise your right hand. Unanimous. Item number 18, discussion and appropriate action to recognize revenue in the amount of, yes, 16. I did. Discussion and appropriate action to recognize revenue in the amount of 1,620.01, Leos, Constable Precinct 1. Ms. Maldonado? Or
On this one, the constables are required to submit paperwork to get that funding from the state, and it's to use towards their training.
Yes, each constable is responsible if you're interested in requesting it from the state controller.
Mhm.
And we did, and that's the amount that they send us. It's the only thing that you can only use it for training purposes.
very well. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion has been made by Commissioner Ramos, second by Commissioner Rios. Discussion?
We almost lost.
I almost lost number 16 because I checked it off. That was the next one on the line. There is no discussion on this item. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. Unanimous. Item number 18, discussion and appropriate action to recognize revenue in the amount of $9,994.99 for vehicle insurance claims. Is there a motion to that effect?
We don't want to lose that. There's no motion.
Motion has been made by Commissioner Reese. Is there a second?
Second.
Second has been made by Commissioner Rios. And for the purposes of this vehicle claim, Ms. Barrientos.
Yes, sir. These are, I believe, one was from precinct 2, and one was from the sheriff's office. And the amounts are detailed in your budget amendments. So they are going towards their vehicle repairs. And so we're making sure that they are used adequately towards the damage.
Okay, so these obviously are being recognized into revenue, but of course they're going into the department's
Yes, sir.
budget.
Into the corresponding department so that they could address the issue with the vehicle that was damaged.
Okay, and as far as when that is concerned, my only issue is that maybe for the next budget cycle, I don't know if there's going to be an issue where we can go ahead, or not an issue, but would it be best for us to place these funds whenever there is a concern that there be a budget line item on everybody's budget, having a vehicle or not, or whatever the insurance claim may be, but for it to be a line item that states insurance proceeds, that way they can pay that out, because my issue is that I don't want these revenues to be washed out without these vehicles being fixed or any damages to any particular building in these precincts, because that's what we saw for many years when they were utilizing funding for the insurance revenues, and the insurance proceeds were basically just going into general fund and being washed out. That's why right now we have a number of vehicles, we have a number of buildings that are not to standards because of how the county was managed for many years. So I just want to know, is it best for purposes of budgeting that we place that type of a proceed? Because I want to make sure that these individuals, because once the elected official is given that money or the department head is given that money, I need to make sure that that's being utilized to actually fix that problem.
And that's where, well, in this case, we're making sure when we approve the purchase order that it's going towards that specific vehicle and not like oil changes or another vehicle repair. We're attaching all the paperwork, documentation, and securing that the expense is used on the appropriate vehicle.
Okay. Next budget cycle,
Yes.
you wouldn't see an issue with that.
Well, I guess
I'll deal with it when I get to it.
Okay, yes.
All right. Moving on, then, if there are no concerns with this matter, there's a motion and a second on this. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor, please raise your right hand. Unanimous. Item number 19, discussion and appropriate action to approve invoice for A1 Fire and Safety invoice number 85096 for $585.40. Is there a motion to that effect? Motion has been made by Commissioner Reese. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Ramos. Discussion? Being that there is none, all those in favor, please raise your right hand. Unanimous. Item number 20, discussion and appropriate action to record in Commissioner's Court official minutes by the District Clerk's Office and on behalf of the 365th Judicial District Court, a court order of appointing and setting a salary of the Maverick County Assistant Auditor. The order has been provided to the court. This will be placing what is a new auditor, Maximiliano Pereda, Assistant County Auditor for Maverick County, with a set salary of $65,000, plus medical and hospitalization insurance, plus fringe benefits and longevity. This is an order that's being sent down by Judge Abascal and Judge Flores for the purposes of recording it in the minutes and having this set for the court. Is there a motion? Is there questions?
I'll make the motion, but
Motion has been made by Commissioner Reese. Is there a second?
I'm sorry.
Second.
Second has been made by Commissioner Morales. Discussion?
This is not a replacement.
Yes. It was we had a vacancy in that office.
Oh, okay.
Mine.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
We got some tough heels to fill. Well, we appreciate y'all that you do, Ms. Barrientos. Moving forward with that, there's a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? If not, all those in favor, please raise your right hand. Unanimous. Moving forward to discussion, to item number 21, discussion and appropriate action to approve the LexisNexis amendment for the county auditor's, county attorney's office. Mr. Gacheta did reach out to me today. He couldn't be here at the meeting. However, based on this is just basically the necessary amendment for the needs on his contract for the LexisNexis service on his for his office use. Is there any questions regarding that? Not. Is there a motion? Motion has been made by Commissioner Ramos. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Reese. Discussion?
Okay.
I just have a question.
Yeah.
Sorry. I just need an amount and then the line items for the increase.
Let me see there.
Give me 1 second.
It says 504, 530, and 556.
Do you have a copy of the contract, Ms. Barrientos? Or the amendment?
Okay.
It's
It's not actually an amendment to funding. It's an amendment to the contract.
Correct.
The change in the contract.
It's a change in the contract.
Okay, let me get let's get any other additional clarification. I know that specifically on the contract that's here on the agenda, there is the line item and the highlighted portion that is on there. Sorry. Give me 1 second.
it has the amount.
The amounts are set at $504, $530, and $556. Based on the monthly commitment for the committed term. These were the agreements that were listed on there for those amounts. And this was sent for a specific term from June 2025 to, July 2025 to June of 2026, July of 2026 to June of 2027, July 2027 to June of 2028. They're broken down year commitments for that specifically, but the monthly commitment has been broken down there for 504, 530, and 556 per year.
And this commitment is for 3 years.
And I don't know, maybe it's a question for legal. Is this an item to amend the contract or to amend the budget?
It's an amendment. The contract clearly states on there Lexis amendment for the purposes, obviously, of the subscription agreement that is required for the end. Correct.
Yeah.
And the purpose of that was the number of users. There were 4 users that were listed on there. Okay.
So he won't be needing additional funding? Or?
Yes. Can you hear me? So it's a 3-year contract. So the term would be 500 for monthly commitment through 2026. So he'll have to bring this back next year. You'll have to fund it next year, and it needs to accept the year.
Correct.
You don't have a copy of that document?
I'm just not looking at it.
But the amount is for each user?
No, it's 4 users. Right?
For the 4?
Yep.
4 licenses for users is what I'm saying.
So it won't affect this budget this year, will it?
And we had the discussion about that because when the submissions for the discussions of the actual budget, that this has been a concern for the county attorney's office and for the DA. Okay, so there's 2 distinct issues that we're dealing with right now in those respective areas for budget. But right now there shouldn't be any major issue or concern with that. There should be sufficient.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. There's no further questions on this contract, on this amendment to the contract based on the users for the amendment. Is there, there's a motion and a second, is that correct? Is there any further discussion? If not, all those in favor, please raise your right hand. Unanimous. Moving forward to item number 22, discussion and appropriate action to request approval of payment of $125 to TNT Rental due to Mother's Day event on 5/13/25 rental of 100 chairs. Commissioner Reese.
Yes, sir. That's my motion, sir.
Motion has been made by Commissioner Reese. Is there a second?
Second.
Second has been made by Commissioner Rios. Discussion? Yes.
If you wanted us to pay it after tomorrow or this week, we would need to add it to the accounts payable.
Is that your...
Today. And congratulations, it was a great event. You had lots of people out there.
Actually, I need about 300 more
You
chairs.
needed like 300. There was a lot of people standing.
Yes.
Yes, it was a great event, Mr. Reese.
And I know that all of that is funded through your donations, correct? That you have there specifically. So thank your funders because they all did a great job in helping you get everything going for your Mother's Day event. It's been a great success.
We've done this for more than 10 years. So.
It's grown many years over the years. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
There's a motion and a second. Is there further discussion on this item? All those in favor, please raise your right hand. Let the record reflect that there are 4 in favor, 1 in abstention. Abstain. Moving forward to the item for 23, discussion and appropriate action to process emergency purchase for water pump for the Maverick County Airport Waterworks. Commissioner?
That one, Judge, we already received it.
Okay.
We got it on Monday, so I want to.
You're withdrawing the item?
Yes.
Very well. Item so withdrawn. Item number 24, discussion and appropriate action to allow Maverick County Co-op grant summer camp employees, explorers, ranger, and precinct 3 support staff to participate in fishing, animal tracking, kayaking, hiking, and environmental education at 10 Point Turtle Ranch, Elm Creek Park, West Trail, Elm Creek Park, Maverick County Lake, Gardner State Park, the Judge Roy Bean Center, Seminole Canyon, and Kickapoo Cavern State Park. Commissioner?
Yes, Judge, that is my motion, Judge.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Ramos. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Rios. Discussion? Being that there is none, all those in favor, please raise your right hand. Yes.
That's a great deal for the kids.
They're having a blast.
Wow.
They're having a blast.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
They're going all over the place.
Yes, we got an amazing team. We have teachers and a university student, and they ran with the program. Parks and Wildlife keeps emailing me, and they're excited to fund next year's. It's double the amount, but they're exploring. They are being exposed to so many, and I have to congratulate. It's my team that we got to bring on board, and it's been amazing. You've been looking at the pictures, and I got word today at one of the conferences that we went, at one of the meetings, that their granddaughter was attending, and they were very pleased. So yes, it's been amazing.
Good deal.
That's
Well,
great.
we're very happy to see that the students are taking advantage during the summer program of all the great work that they're doing. Isaac, thank you for getting that
Yes,
together as well.
Isaac, he did amazing with a grant, and yes, again, it's the first time in I don't know since 1990s that
We were able to get that.
that we have brought a grant like this to Maverick County. So
Perfect.
thank you for. I know we've been going back and forth with some issues because it's the first time that we bring something like this. But I want to thank you for your patience, and we'll be ready for next summer.
Commissioner, is this time for an X amount of days, or how do you feel?
It's a whole summer. It goes through the first week of August, and it's every week. They have a program scheduled, different places that they're taking the kids.
Well, if you need some escorts, let me know, will you?
I know I've gotten a lot of volunteers. We have as a matter of fact, we have a waiting list also because we have a limit, and we can't fit everybody. We have a waiting list on this program, and we have a waiting list of like 40 kids in the summer program
Wow.
that we're hosting.
Maybe that should be reported on the news.
I just do want to add that, kind of seconding what Commissioner Ramos has said, is that whenever we originally applied for this program, we didn't get it last year. We approved the application. We did get it this year. And what we submitted is what we thought. But whenever we brought on board these camp counselors, there's 3 of them right now, I mean, they just completely, put their hands in there, started putting a whole bunch of things that I didn't even anticipate whenever I submitted
Exactly.
the application. So, I mean, I do want to second that and say that they're doing a tremendous job. We just submitted the revised timeline with all the events that you just added on here, and it was accepted. You saw the email. It was approved by the Texas Parks and Wildlife, and they are really excited about what we're able to do. And we can't stop getting compliments from Texas Parks and Wildlife about the program. Her staff is being able to put in.
Great.
That's great.
Congratulations,
It's a team that we got on board. I have to give them credit because I've been gone to the conference and they just ran with it.
No, well, I know that you have an exceptional leader there with Carlos Herrera, who I think
my God.
is a great asset. He was with us when I was at City Hall and was definitely a great asset at that time. And I know that he's doing a great issue with the program as well.
Yes,
So.
he is. He's doing amazing with it, and they're already planning for next summer. And so we're excited.
Good deal.
Thank you, Isaac.
Thank you. All right. I'll call for the question once again. I know we've took a vote and then there was a mix up, but I'll go ahead and recall on that question. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Unanimous. Thank you. Moving forward to item number 25, discussion and appropriate action regarding installation of mailboxes. Commissioner Morales?
Judge,
Yes.
I wanted to meet in closed session with our attorney.
Sure.
I know we brought this item before and we'll take action in open session.
Very well.
I want to put him up to date on
what's going on. Then with that item at the request of the commissioner, based on this for legal review, we'll go ahead and take that into consideration. We'll report that properly before entering into executive session. Item number 26, discussion and appropriate action to hire Lydia Martinez as paid deputy constable in the office of Constable Precinct 1 effective May 27th, 2025 at a rate per hour of $16.25 with 6 months probationary period. Commissioner?
Yes, Judge. On that item, there just needs to be a correction on the hourly rate. It's $16.75.
That's my motion.
Is there a motion to amend? Commissioner Morales has amended the item to read $16.75 per hour. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Rios. Discussion? Being that there is none, all those in favor, please raise your right hand. Item so amended. Now the item will read at a rate per hour of $16.75. Yes, Constable. Is there anything specific that you need to add on? Anything else? No?
That's it.
Very well. Is there a motion?
So moved, Judge.
Motion has been made by Commissioner Morales. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Rios. Discussion? Being that there is none, all those in favor, please raise your right hand. Unanimous. Item number 27, discussion and possible action to accept donation of narcotic canine, is it Dino or Dino? Dino. From the Eagle Pass Police Department. Deputy Cruz and Canine Dino have completed their training and certifications and will be working together for the safety and betterment of the community as well as fighting crime against drugs. Commissioner?
My motion, Judge.
Motion has been made by Commissioner Morales. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Rios. Discussion? Ms. Barrientos. I don't know which one to ask first. Eh?
On this one, we do need a letter from the donor, which would be the city of Eagle Pass. We need a letter from them giving us their location and the value of the asset. I know it's an officer, so I know they have it as
Priceless.
I know, so, but we do need because we need to secure it or put it under the insurance. We're gonna need that for the other one too.
Very well.
And we will also need a budget to create a budget and fund the budget for the needs of the officer.
That was the name of the question.
Next budget cycle, unless there's something within the current budget, because I know we are literally on the budget line item. We're working it.
I guess it could be operations from your regular operations for the if you have any, but they need food and I mean, when we accept this donation, we're accepting this responsibility. It needs to be fed and it needs to be taken to the vet.
Very well.
Yes, and also, just for record, K9 Dino as well as Deputy Cruz, they already went through their training, their certification. So you need to be certified and able to have the K9 out in the streets, and that's been done as well.
Perfect.
And I know that for the next budget, the item, the additional line item has been added.
For the next budget?
For the next, yes.
Well, you've made the request.
Yes.
Okay.
It's been requested.
Okay.
Yes, for the next, but for right now, food, everything that's been needed for K9 right now, we've been buying it from our own pocket as well. I don't know, Mr. Perez already left from the food pantry, but he's also been assisting us when it comes to food. Judge Mancha.
Which is actual dog food. Make it very clear.
Yes.
I don't want you to say that the dog is eating watermelons or melones or anything like that, okay? Let me be very clear before that gets the wrong message sent out, all right? I was like, it's a very healthy dog.
Yes, doctor, and it's pretty much the donation that he gives us are the bags that are torn.
Correct.
So we just tape it up.
And there's obviously the food pantry does receive what is those. So the South Texas does provide sometimes for our four-legged family members as well. So I know that he does have some that are there available.
Yes, and like I said, dogs that are.
We'll just take it out of the food pantry budget then. Okay.
And also Judge Mancha.
Really?
Judge Mancha, she's also been helping us with the dogs and the babies.
Great.
But we still need some revenues.
Awesome. We'll work on that.
Can this dog go anywhere in the county?
Yes, because the handler is Deputy Cruz. She's an all OS, 100% all OS. So she's.
We go anywhere. Right?
Yes, sir.
Further questions? No? All right. All those in, there's a motion or no? Motion second. If there's no further discussion, we'll go ahead and call for the question. All those in favor, pending what is just the letter of donor and the value amount. Okay, so contingent upon that approval, just making sure that's on the motion.
That is my motion,
okay,
Judge.
very well. That is motion then is so amended, and the second with that as well. If there's no further discussion on this item, all those in favor, please raise your right hand. Unanimous. Thank you. Moving forward to item number 28, discussion and appropriate action to purchase a new unit for Constable Precinct 1 office through OLS grant budget.
Judge, that is my motion, but I also want to amend my item to include Precinct 1 and 2.
Okay. Is there a motion? We'll go ahead and respect the item to amend. Is there a motion to amend that? Motion has been made by Commissioner Morales. Is there a second?
Second.
Second has been made by Commissioner Rios. On this item, is there a further discussion? Being that there is none, all those in favor, please raise your right hand. On this matter, then, the item has been so amended to include Precinct 2. Correct?
Yes, Precinct 1 and 2.
Precinct 1 and 2.
Put the rest of the rest of the.
Very well.
I mean, do we have funds for that?
Well, here's my matter, and that's what I think that in regards to this item, just to go ahead and have this discussion for that purpose, and if we can, Commissioner, if that's okay. I know that this has been an item that has been submitted specifically for this request. Completely in agreement and completely understand the need for the new units. We have submitted under the OLS grant what is the request for units this past year. The item, what I want to remind everyone is that we have two processes when it comes to an OLS request. The item is obviously submitted to what is the project director, which in this case, Mr. Airocheta oversees the items. Once they're submitted, they go from there. I have to certify that request, and then it gets submitted to the governor's office. Okay, the governor's office is the one that ultimately makes the determination on this matter. On that purpose, for the last time that we submitted an item for units for the constables, the item was denied by the governor's office.
I remember that.
And because we had submitted it for all the constables, including, it was all 5 offices, including Precinct 1, 2, 3, 2, Quemado, 4, and that was a total of 5 offices. With that, the denial came that they would not fund for equipment. Now, if there is a request that you all wish that we submit, it's I think the item might be maybe incorrect as to how y'all are making that request. We can resubmit a request, but the governor's office is going to be the one to ultimately make that decision. And that's why I just want to make sure that we all understand the process of how we have to submit something to the state to get it. Believe me, we've done it. We had the conversation when we were going through the budget cycle for the last fiscal year, when we went through this fiscal year, this current one. We had already made those submissions. The governor's office denied it, stating that they were scaling back on all equipment purchases for that year. If the court, uh, you know, wishes to make a request for the constable's offices, we can do that, meet with the project director and have that submitted again. But more than likely, we are dependent upon the governor's office approval for that.
Judge, I
Yes.
have a question. Does it depend on the rationale, maybe the way that we word the need? Obviously,
Their
we are
issue,
asking.
because like let's say right now where we're at, let's say starting September, by September, any individual based on the agreements that we've had in all of the offices throughout the county, any employee that is not 100% funded through OLS will no longer be what is considered part of the program. If it's 100% employee, then of course it remains on the program. But the program from the state is starting to scale back. So that's why we can submit something to the state and make a request again, but more than likely they're going to turn around and tell us we're not going to fund it. But we can always try. And so I'm completely, I think that it's important for us to get as much as we can, because once this program is fully over, we'll be able to retain those assets that will be important for our departments. But I want to make sure that, we're aware that it's not as easy as just saying, okay, let me purchase a new unit, because it's not like we have an open fund that we can just say, go and purchase that unit. So the process is pretty clear, but I do want to, let you know that we're exploring every single option. I think that right now we have an option that we're going to have to come up with that I have to present to the auditor to see what it is and how we can actually get this done. Because when it's coming down to equipment needs, there's a lot of needs that we're going to have to meet. We're going to have to get creative in how we're going to meet these needs for this county. So for that purpose, I'm kind of asking you all to either we make a request and consider it, for the needs of the departments that actually need it there on this, and whatever the governor's office says, we rely on that. But there may be, of course, concerns that we're so far into the year that there won't be sufficient funding to cover that. Yes, Commissioner.
For informational purposes, and the training that we get, and according to Texas Association of Counties, in this coming legislation, I think there's a law already sitting, a projected law sitting on the desk of the governor, in which OLS is getting more funding. They're getting more generous. So, and I think those funds will be readily available for the decision of the governor come in September, as a matter of fact. Okay. So I think we have a chance to talk to Mr. Lacheta and put together. I mean, there's no question that the units are needed.
No, they're needed. Absolutely.
And we can wait for that to happen, since we're about to finish the school. That's
School year.
After 33 years,
Fiscal year.
The legislature is going to be generous as far as the OLS is concerned, more than the past year. So there might be some funding available for that.
And I understand, that it's coming to the end, and we would be happy to wait. The thing that I don't want to have now officers sit in the office because I can't provide the proper tools that they need to perform their duties. I can tell you, I only have one car running right now. I have 4 officers, and that car is running constantly, Monday through Sunday, 24 hours. So I don't know, maybe if the other question might be if maybe the county attorney has any vehicles that they can transfer over to precinct 1. I think he received 7 new units.
I think that's the problem with government-owned constables. the vehicles all worn out.
I completely understand that, but I know, and nothing against no constable, because I'm very thankful and grateful that we're all able to work together. But I know precinct 3, they got 2 new pickups. I think precinct 4 just received another pickup besides the units that they already had.
So let's make sure and be clear on that, Ms. Maldonado, because in regards to, let's say, what Precinct 4 received a commitment that came in from the sheriff's office. Okay, so these were used vehicles. They're coming surplus amongst the departments. So I think that we need to evaluate on that. I don't want the constables in a used vehicle because let me tell you, you all do just as much, if not more, than the sheriff's office. Okay, so my concern is constables need to have their vehicles, and I think that based on the concerns that we're having on equipment, these are discussions that I'm glad that you're bringing up, so that when our meetings come up with the auditor's office, we can actually come up with a plan of action that can actually get these issues financed properly. But they're important needs right now that we're looking at for our community. So I want to, yes.
You're making points here that, for instance, the constable of Precinct 4 got a used vehicle from the sheriff.
Correct.
But Precinct 3 had brand new vehicles.
Mm-hmm.
And this was in the past administration, as far as I'm concerned. We have, let's borrow one,
mm-hmm.
please.
Yes,
and I think that, and in regards to Precinct 3, Precinct 3-2, which was Quemado, never had a unit.
Exactly.
Never.
He was using.
They received what it was a personal unit. He was using his personal unit. They were able to utilize and get funding specifically for that, which we identified it because Quemado was hit heavily for OLS needs. That project was heavily funded through there and was justified property. So they're handling that. I don't take any of that away, Ms. Maldonado, from that issue. But I'm going to ask that you give me, of course, and of course the court, if the Commissioner Morales, the opportunity to sit down and make sure that while we're going through this process, especially through this budget year, that as these needs are coming up and as we're meeting specifically with all these departments, that we're going to be obviously meeting one-on-one even with the auditor, because I'm going to be including her in on these meetings to make sure that they're fully aware of what it is that's going on in every department, because it's very important for that to be included, because when there is a need for any type of financing of any equipment, that's where we're going to have to lean towards. So know that, your concern doesn't fall on deaf ears. It's not, and we are obviously going to make sure that not just your office, but every single constable receives something on that.
Can we make a request?
Mm-hmm.
I know as the authorizing official, you can make a request to the project director, correct?
Yes.
The worst they can do is say no. Can we request one unit for each precinct?
Mm-hmm.
Include everybody?
Well, obviously, I think that in this case, for that purpose, we can I can obviously sit down with Mr. Iracheta and make that request. It's not a problem at all. Like I said, it's just going to come down to the actual approval. But like I said, just the way that the item is worded, it's you're saying that we're going to just buy point blank go out when that's not the way the process works.
And I just added from OLS being that I do have an officer that's 100% funded.
Correct. Mm-hmm. No, but so does the other officers.
Yeah, and I think that's something, Judge, that I know Precinct 2. Do you have an OLS? No más Quemado, ¿verdad? Quemado. So when we have our OLS officer using our units, are we getting reimbursed for that? Because our units broke down while they were doing OLS.
Mm-hmm.
And Mayor Judge, I did make that request.
Cost allocation, Ms. Barrientos. Remember that word, that phrase?
Cost allocation.
Maybe we should reverse the cost allocation on that so that it's not an issue.
Well, on those vehicles that are used by the OLS officers for OLS purposes, we did request that if they wanted fuel or vehicle maintenance, they need to provide us a log. Where and to. We don't need to know if they're going to an investigation or the scene of an investigation. We don't need to know the details. But the grant does request that they keep track of their mileage for OLS purposes. So we've made those requests, and I know some of the sheriff's office, I'm supposed to hear from there, they do provide those logs, and so we do, I think we've been able to order some of the few.
Okay.
So
And
that's
I
all
just-
we require.
And I just spoke with Ms. Barrientos reference to that actually yesterday. And she did tell me that, and I told her actually we do have a log sheet as to the date, starting, ending, and then notes as to what was the activity that was done throughout those hours.
So once
So-
we review the information that we'll be submitting, if the maintenance logs or the mileage logs are exactly what we require, then we'll let Mr.
And the issue also comes down to Ms. Barrientos as far as because we have a certain amount that's there left additional in funding to cover. I'm not going to call it an incidental fund. It's just kind of like there's an overage there for any type of additional expense. The issue is that back then the auditor's office was not adding any additional expenses, so we were losing that. I mean, we're talking thousands of dollars to not being to bring these actual amounts to get reimbursed to the county. So my concern is that if that's the case, that portion of the actual grant needs to be utilized in order for us to reimburse that properly.
Yes, and we're aware that there was some funding that was obligated in the previous grant.
Yes, it was.
So we're trying to work.
And a lot of that also relies heavily on how fast these issues are getting reimbursed, and a lot of the issues that if we're not getting reimbursement submitted on time, and if we're losing those issues, we at the end of the day, while everything is not at no cost to the taxpayer, if the auditor's office is not getting everything submitted on time and getting it processed, then we're having to tackle that. And that we've had a discussion on. And I want to make sure that the court and you are fully aware of the importance of getting these reimbursements done on time. And I know we're behind.
And all we ask, again, for these items to get done on time is that they provide the proper documentation. That's been the number one thing that we ask. Give us a proper documentation.
So let me ask on this issue, because the court obviously recommended, and we had already had it prior approved on the issue for the OLS auditor to making sure that this was going forward. Where are we on that?
We can't justify a full-time OLS auditor.
How do you not justify something that if there are a number of matters, you all in your office are behind enough as it is. So when it comes down to the issue of OLS operations and doing that, we've given you the tools, Ms. Barrientos, to make sure that your department is a success. And I just want to make sure that you're understanding that the lack of not being able to submit the number of reimbursements on time is obviously concerning, because it puts every other item on the county docket behind as well. So I'm asking that if you don't find that justifiable, I don't think that that's correct. I don't believe that is the case. You have ultimately hundreds of thousands of dollars that need to be reimbursed to Maverick County by OLS. That should be a matter that technically you all are working towards to get that money back as soon as possible. We've given you the option, and just because you all may not think it's justifiable is not, I think, in my opinion, sufficient for this court. And I don't know. You all tell me as commissioners, because the options are there. There is sufficient. In my opinion, the stipends that have been given specifically to your staff come September will no longer be there. Just like they will not be there for any other member of this operation. So I want to be clear that you understand that this is going to be an issue that now, are you going to put OLS operations on the back burner because nobody's going to get that payment? Every department should have that one OLS operations person, especially in the finance division. So telling this court that it's not justifiable, I don't feel that that's correct. Tio?
Justifiable, I mean, what does it mean? How do you say to a person who is
If I have one full-time auditor, assistant auditor working on OLS, it's a matter of days, maybe throughout the month. In a couple of days, less than a week, they should be able to get all this done. And then how do I justify all the 100%?
So then you turn around I mean, in that case, for that purpose, Ms. Barrientos, I think that you know you need to look at this and say you're going to be hired for this amount of hours per week, and you're setting it for that rate, whatever it may be. I mean, that to me, if anybody needs an OLS person, it's y'all.
I think.
Okay, it's you all because everything that is happening right now that's causing the backlog in Maverick County is because of OLS and the backlog in the auditor's office. I don't mean to point it out that way, but I need to make sure that it's aired out here because it's important for you to understand the frustration that we're having to go to listen to every single other official that's saying we're not getting anywhere with the department. But I understand, and I mean we've given you the tools. We want you to be successful. We want you and your department to move forward. Use what we have given you to make it a success, Ms. Barrientos. That's all I ask.
I appreciate that, and I do know that this OLS position didn't get approved till March. So at this point, we had other issues. We're still working on OLS. It is an ongoing project, and I will address some of the issues. I did meet with Jackie this week because we're already working on the drawdowns. Out of about, I don't know, 50 timesheets and everything that she checked, there were about maybe 30. Well, 20 that were correct and 30 that were incorrect.
So let's turn around and say 20 and 30. Look at how much time Carla and Maria are utilizing on that. That's my concern.
So, but in the meantime, I mean, that's not all she's working on. We're working on grants.
No, you're working on audit alone.
And we're working
That took us back a lot. There's a lot of issues. It's understandable, and I feel for the department because there's a lot. Okay, I mean, and now we're going into budget season, so there's even going to be more. But my only concern is that we've given you what you need. Please use it.
Start
Okay?
tomorrow.
Advertise the position, do what you have to do, find what needs to be done, but know that, I mean, based on everything that we're seeing, it is a justifiable position that is absolutely needed.
When I have a question by Ms. Barrientos' comment, when they don't submit the proper documentation, because I hear this and ongoing, are their department heads being notified?
In this case, I did notify Jack, which is the coordinator over there. I told her, look, you guys are always asking to give you a list of the errors that we find in ONS. Look at this. I don't have time to make your list. My staff doesn't have time to make your list. You can sit here and make a list yourself. And her comment was son muchos. I'm like, well, sí, son muchos. That's why I can't give you a list. And it's not the same mistakes every time. And it's not the same department making these mistakes all the time. So the grant is very specific as to what it requests. When we submit for reimbursement, we have to be very specific with what we're turning in. If it doesn't match, they're gonna disallow. So that's why we're taking the time. And we're talking with Treasurer's Office too, because there's issues in all departments, either missing signatures, they didn't sign both sheets, time got changed.
No, and it's completely. It's. I think that we see it because I mean I'll see an issue every so often run through my department, and I'm checking whenever it is because based on the coordinator for the court that's doing that. I mean I have to make sure and double check that all hours are matching on all forms because I don't want to have it come back to me. But not every other. I'm sure department director may be doing as much or as is intense to check everything as I am. So my only concern is that let's not.
These reimbursements will get submitted. Now they're being more meticulous, and I do know that one of the gentlemen that was working closely with Mr. Yacheta's no longer there, so he's been replaced. I believe it's
James Seal.
Seal.
He's no longer there.
So he's been replaced by someone else. So I'm assuming because of that, they're also being
Trained.
meticulous on all their. But we're getting that done, and it will be submitted.
Judge,
I'll wait and see when we're going to submit everything.
so going back to my item, I'd like to make a motion that the AO yourself make a request to the project director of requesting a new unit for each precinct. through the OLS.
Second.
That's my motion.
Motion has been made by Commissioner Morales, second by Commissioner Ramos. Discussion?
Um, so what is the original request?
Well, the original request was basically to downright purchase a new unit for Constable Precinct 1. There was an amendment made to purchase new units for Constable 1 and 2. That was approved and went through. So at this point, I believe that after the very healthy dialogue that we just held, we needed to. The commissioner has made a motion, just basically to request that there be a submission, or that I make a submission based on that. That's
my motion.
It's a motion. It's a motion based on the discussion, which I have.
Is that correct?
Oh, you made a motion to amend.
Correct. Motion to amend has been made, and that was made. So, however, the only issue is that the motion that the commissioner has made has been basically to request that I, as the overseer of this entire grant program, make a request to the governor's office for what are the units for the constable's offices. Correct?
Yes.
Very well.
That is my motion.
So that's the motion, and the second has been made. Is there further discussion?
I thought it was an amendment.
Well, so originally you requested that we make it for 2 purchases, and if you want to make it clean, withdraw it, just make a new one. But I heard
that's better.
I mean, my motion is very clear.
Yes, I think it's
what
and-
listed here.
okay.
What listed here? We need to take action. What is here?
Commissioner, would you be maybe amenable
Yes,
to go ahead
yes.
and just make a motion to amend to amend your item to put all
Okay.
Judge, I think
Okay.
so. I think he's gonna withdraw. The commissioner, I believe, maybe you'd like to withdraw your motion at this time.
I'll withdraw my
And your
motion,
second.
but
Is there a second withdraw?
Second.
Okay.
and then I will amend to include precinct 1, 2, 3, and 4
Correct.
as the amendment.
Very well. Very well. That is the amended motion.
That's the amendment.
To incorporate all 4 precincts. There's a motion to amend the item to read the incorporation of all 4 precincts. Is there a second?
Second.
Second has been made by Commissioner Ruiz. Discussion? Being that there is none, all those in favor, please raise your right hand.
Judge, I
Unanimous.
have a question. Can you also take part in consideration in asking Mr. Rajata if he's willing or able to transfer?
Oh, that'll be a discussion.
That'll be a
we'll
different
have.
item.
Yes. So, in regards to this particular matter, for this item, the item now reads, of course, discussion and appropriate action to purchase a new unit for constable offices precincts 1, 2, 3, and 4 through the OLS grant budget. Okay. Now, the motion, I believe, Commissioner, would be the one that just stood.
The motion is for the AO to direct the project director to request the 4 units, one
Very
for
well.
each precinct. That's
Very
my motion.
Motion has been made by Commissioner Morales. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Rios. Discussion?
No, the only thing is that hopefully he'll, because I did reach out to him in reference to my constable in Quemado when he took office, when he came to my office requesting a unit. And I submitted the request to the OLS coordinator, which is Mr. Iracheta, and it was denied because he said they were not approving units. I pray to God that this time, hopefully we can
We'll
be
go ahead and sit
successful,
down.
but we'll try
We'll
it.
try.
Hopefully so. Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Very well. There is a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion?
No, just adding on to the same thing, I thank Commissioner Morales for bringing it up. I know this has been an ongoing discussion with everybody, so.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you, Lily.
Okay, there's no further discussion. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. Unanimous. Thank you, Ms. Maldonado. Item number 29, discussion and appropriate action to accept and adopt K-9 policies and procedures for Constable Precinct 1. Commissioner?
Yes, Judge. The last, believe on the last meeting, we had to bring this back so we can adopt it, and we finally got them in place. And Ms. Maldonado was able to facilitate this, and it's part of the attachments.
Very well. Legal, are there any questions on that? You reviewed them? Okay.
So that's my motion, Judge.
Very well. The motion has been made by Commissioner Morales. Is there a second?
Second.
Being so there is a second by Commissioner Rios. Discussion? Being that there is none, all those in favor, please raise your right hand. Unanimous.
Do we have copies of that?
Yes, it's yeah. Okay. There's specifically in it is on the actual document for your screen. We'll proceed with item number 30, discussion and appropriate action to approve fiscal year 25 budget amendments. Just for purposes of the discussion, and I know that I have a couple of questions regarding some of these items and some of the budget amendments. Let me see where these are. Commissioner, I just wanted to make sure that you were aware that those items that you had requested were on here, okay?
Yes, Judge. I
Okay,
did
you've
see
seen them? Okay.
Judge, do we need to amend the TNT? I think it's part of the.
Well, that's going to be on the accounts payable.
Oh yeah, my
Yes.
apologize.
Don't get ahead of us, Commissioner. All right. Budget amendments. There is an additional request that has been submitted by the county clerk that I need to make sure that is listed on the record as well regarding the budget amendment, which would be a debit of $6,650.21 from account number 12606101659 for machinery and equipment 0 to 4,999.99, and it'll be crediting $6,650.21 to account number 12603120659 operating supplies. This will be for the records management and preservations expenses. Correct, Ms. Montemayor? Very well. We're okay. Apenas.
What are we including
They weren't included in the actual budget amendments for this one.
No, the one that I had for precinct 4 with the chairs.
No, that'll be in accounts payable. Yes. So, are there any questions regarding there? I will make note, and of course, just for the court's purpose, on that matter for the budget amendments. I know that there was a discussion that was to be held with the sheriff's department regarding the mechanics position on that purpose. And in regards to the item, of course, also Commissioner Morales, you had brought up on that matter. I had made a request specifically to Chief De Leon that I would like to meet with the sheriff regarding this issue. It is concerning, of course, to me that an item for budget amendments and for these matters that are coming forth, and there's the sheriff's office has a number of budget amendments that come in many forms in many different areas. Obviously, in the discussions that we had in the last item, the discussion that we had with the court, the request, of course, and the item, of course, that I had requested to the court was that I visit specifically with the sheriff to go ahead and get this item addressed and to move forward with that. As a department head and as a department director and as an elected official, I believe that it's the sheriff's responsibility to advocate for his department and to come forth and to make sure that they are requesting said budget amendments on these purposes based on the concerns that we had on the discussions that we had in executive session. Unfortunately, the sheriffs did not attend the meeting that was requested at that time. So I wanted to report to the court the meeting that I had scheduled with the sheriff was approximately the next day after the last commissioner's court meeting. I have, as obviously and of course requested, and I have discussed certain matters regarding the sheriff's budget with both Mr. Warden Parra and Deputy Ramos and Guerra from the jail division, of which I feel that we need to make sure that they are moving forward with the operations of the jail and the protection, of course, of whatever is needed on those inmates. As we are responsible for those individuals, but my concern still lies in the fact that as department heads and as elected officials, when there's issues like this, that maybe we need to meet and make sure that everything is being met, from whether there's other concerns in the department that we're going to be facing a problem. I see a lot of these matters that come out specifically out of prisoner medical, and it's concerning to me, and I just want to make sure that the court is fully aware of these matters, of what these budget requests are made. If the oversight or something does happen at some point from any aspect of a concern from there being a request and there's not going to be sufficient to cover prisoner medical, that department is putting this county in a liability, okay? And I just want to be very upfront with this court that I am making sure that we are fully aware as to what my concerns are as a budget officer. And I would hope that the sheriff would have the decency as an elected official and as a department head to make sure that he is available to discuss the budget when we're coming forth with items on budget amendments. I have no concern with working with the sheriff. That's my intention, to work with every single official when it comes down to these matters, and of course respecting these concerns or these requests for budget amendments. But as a court, the court holds the ultimate authority to either approve or deny any budget amendment as discussed in executive session. So I'm not saying that we deny anything, but I'm just saying that I find that this matter is something that we should all be concerned with, that when we're looking at major concerns or issues to where funding should be directed, and mind you, every official has the right to run their department as they see fit. But when we're looking at the possibility of having some concerns in a department and addressing that with the staff, in my opinion, that's not the way it should be handled.
I wholeheartedly agree with you. I think we should follow the proper protocol here. I mean, if you're an elected official, you should be the spokesperson for your department.
Exactly.
And if they're not here, we've seen in different cases, they're just not going to be here for whatever reason. That's not, I mean, we'll make every effort to be there. Either that we'll table it till the person is able to return to be here to defend the issue. We've seen Judge Abascal come over and defend a change that he's making in his office. I mean,
you see Ms. Maldonado, Mr. De La Torre, they've all come in this past week. But that's just my only concern, that if there's going to be something, I want to make sure that I set that very clear, that as officials, we have a responsibility to either advocate for our departments and to defend the reasonings as to why we're going to be, or justifying the reasons as to why we're going to be doing that. And it's extremely important that if they think that just because they're going to be submitting a budget amendment, it's going to get approved, that's not how this works. Okay? And there needs to be an understanding, because we're all a team here. We're all trying to make this county move forward. But when we're seeing some concerns that come in with the department, I just want to make sure that it's on the record that I am respectfully requesting that there be sufficient respect for this court, that they come before this court and they make that request as other officials have done so. And I don't think that it's too much to ask on this matter. So I want to go ahead and just put that on the record and make sure that it's made aware. I am not an individual that's out there on social media, they are with the media, making all of these accusations. No. Advocate for your department and know that if you're going to do what you need to do, you can come to this court, you can make that request, and we'll work with you in order to make sure that it moves forward. But going out there and making all these claims is not the best way to get things done or settled. I have no issue, obviously, with that. My only concern is, if you want to advocate for your department, present yourself before the court. Okay? So outside of the request that has been made for that additional concern, I know that there has been that one that has been there on that item. There is, one second, item number 16, 17, 18. These were all. There's items that were also on there, items 16, 17, and 18. Is that correct for budget amendments? They were required. Constable Precinct 1 mileage. That was a revenue recognition. Quemado, that was revenue recognition. And the insurance proceed, that's a revenue recognition. Okay. So outside of there, specifically on the actual budget amendments, in regards to this and for that concern, we have on here, is there any concern on the budget amendments that have been presented? The items that the Sheriff's Office was requesting for that purpose was about a total here of $44,478 in vehicle repairs. The other item, administrative offices for Precinct 2, Precinct 1, water plant, overtime changes, cybersecurity, machine and equipment, and that of course is for the grant. Is that correct? On that matter for that budget amendment, Ms. Barrientos? Is that correct? The cybersecurity,
Yes.
the 50,000?
Yes.
Okay. On the constables, let's see. There were some amendments there on the uniforms for precinct 1, parks facilities improvements. For that's a line item change into repairs and maintenance. I'm sorry, from repairs and maintenance to improvements. IT, media, machine, and equipment for operational supplies. Constable Precinct 4, minor modifications there for mileage and uniforms, as well as machinery and equipment. Travel, these are the travels changes that we're seeing that are necessary for the constables and JP's certifications that are being made for modifications in precincts 1, 2, and 4. No, 4 didn't require, and 4.
3 is not on there too.
They didn't make any modifications. They had sufficient in their budget. Precinct mileage 1, nutrition center collections, and sheriffs, which is the other amendment, which was set for the mechanics and duties. And I think that on that purpose, my only concern, like let's say on that matter, and I don't know from your end, commissioners, as Road and Bridge directly, it falls under you all. That's been the concern, obviously, on the sheriff's department is that they don't have a first hand need for any type of repair. For that purpose of actually fixing their vehicles. Like I said, I'm concerned, and I know that I have quite a bit of topic to cover in a later item. But is there something that we can do with Road and Bridge that can assist the sheriff's department to get these requests in and out faster when it comes down to that? Now, mind you, the sheriff claims that there's a number of issues that are ongoing when it comes down to the vehicle repair side. I know that there's a number of vehicles that are currently going through a process, but just on the sheriff's department alone, on sheriff's accidents that have happened in this, we're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 in total, whatever the accidents may be, and however that they may be processed. I think that there's just concern with also, a lot of these issues as to why we're facing these concerns with vehicle repairs as well. A lot of units might be out because of those accidents, but two, my concern is, it kind of lies back on this. So I kind of wanted to have that discussion to see, how you all want to proceed with these budget amendments. If you wish for us to recall the items from them and sit down with them to just make sure that this is the best approach, or for us to go from there,
I agree with you. You should have a personal analysis of what is really needed in the sheriff department. I know it is needed, but he should be able to come and defend his department and justify what needs to be done. I mean, the Road and Bridge Department, as far as the mechanics is concerned, they do have plenty of work. I mean, our equipment is much to be desired, nonetheless, but it is needed. As a matter of fact, they should have their own section there for the sheriff department, because I don't know how many patrol units they have, and they're constantly going. So they need attention, and we should give attention to the sheriff department. I have no problem with that. Yeah, but you need to put the cards on the table and establish what needs to be done in an amicable situation.
Correct.
I think it's been made very clear by Judge. I know that the items were submitted, and I know that you placed them here again on the budget amendments, and I think it's been made very clear sending your message to the sheriff. The sheriff needs to be here and advocate for his employees and for his residents. I appreciate that they're here, and I think that moving forward, we can get him what he needs right now. But I also agree that he needs to come in here, and we need to talk the budget and what are we going to do to get more for the residents. If he doesn't want to come out here and advocate, I know that I've met with him. His employees have been here plenty of times requesting this budget amendments, and they're here. They reached out to me to sponsor those items, and I did. And when I didn't see my items individually, as I had requested them, I did panic at first and say, my items are not in here. And then I saw them on the budget adjustments like they were last time. Last time they were withdrawn, and I agreed with you. Okay, let's withdraw them and let's bring them back to the table regarding that grant. Well, that grant is no longer in play. But I think if we can help the community.
No, it's still in play.
Yeah. Yeah, if the money's there, we can
Correct.
still bring it back.
That's obviously my concern. Is that on that issue? Is that we're looking at this matter from a perspective of what is actually happening on what is being requested by staff.
Mm-hmm.
But as an elected official and as a department head, you take the lead on your department. You obviously sit with the budget officer and with the court and say, you know what, this is the best way that we can approach it. I get it. I understand. I mean, Commissioner, we've had differences, but we've worked out matters, when it comes down to certain issues on the budget.
Sure.
I mean, we've sat through the budget cycle, and we've had that. And that's where I want to make sure that this court is given that respect by the sheriff. And it needs to be known and it needs to be said because it just continues to evolve as this court is not doing anything for the sheriff's department. How many vehicles have we not been able to obtain for them through grants programs? How many ATVs have we not been able to get for them through the grants programs? There's been a lot that this court has done specifically for the sheriff's department. But yet, they want to portray as if we are the enemy? No. I want you as a department head to understand that you have a responsibility to come and advocate. And that is my concern. And I appreciate, Commissioner, that you agree with these comments. I appreciate that the court agrees with these comments. But I just feel that this is not the approach that should be happening, specifically coming from this individual. And I think that the court should be offended by the actions that have been said and that have been made by the sheriff and that have been said out there specifically. There's not a PO that is not signed timely for the departments, just like they are not signed timely for each and every one of these departments, because POs don't sit in my office. And you all know that. Compared to another administration, POs get moved out. Okay? So I want to be just very clear that we're doing everything we can, but guys, I mean, there needs to be a better understanding, and I just feel that with this, the commission, if the sheriff is willing, obviously, to come in and make this adjustment, or at least make this understanding on this purpose, we proceed with the budget amendment. It's not here today.
Judge, after I got the letter, because he sent me a letter, I did some research on that specifically,
Correct.
that mechanic, and I did my research on that, and it turns out that he used to have a mechanic position at the Road and Bridge Department, and I wasn't here, but from what I understand, they did away with that position because that mechanic was only servicing the sheriff's units, and there was not enough work for him to do because he wouldn't touch the other county vehicles.
Mm-hmm.
And they did away previous administration from that position, and apparently this is what he's requesting now, to put that mechanic at the Road and Bridge Department or his facility, or I don't know where. But if we have to justify the position, if there's enough work for him to do, or maybe we can talk to our Road and Bridge mechanic and have him assist for now and figure out
And that's why I bring the concern to the court, because as commissioners, you all are overseeing the road and bridge, and you all are understanding that you have a responsibility to that. But if there is something that we can come to an agreement to, or whether it's an issue of making an amendment to, have an additional individual, kind of take on that responsibility under the road and bridge department, that's perfectly fine. But how many units? Is it truly justifiable? I guess is the question, as every PO now has justification. Is it truly justifiable for us to turn around and say, you know what, let's hire an individual who is simply going to fix a tire, change oil once or twice a day on a matter, and then that's it? Okay, well then maybe the question is, do we need to make modifications to the road and bridge department to where that's where that individual should be, and that individual can assist, but where this court also makes it a mandatory obligation that if sheriff's department is coming in with a unit to get our units out, that they get taken first priority. That's where I'm coming from.
Yes.
Okay? And that's why I want to make sure that if we can get there, and if we as a court can send that message, let's go that route, then let's go that route.
You need to develop procedure that if this mechanic is coming, these are the things that he's supposed to be doing also. Under the supervision of the head mechanic of the road and bridge department.
But my concern, Commissioner, is that this individual should be, if this is the case, and if there's a need for us to go ahead and do that, then this individual should be specifically under road and bridge, under the direct supervision of the mechanic at road and bridge.
Right. I agree.
He's going to be using the equipment in there also.
But my concern is, if that individual is there in road and bridge and there is a direct need for that, well then, you know what, let's go ahead and make an amendment, do what's necessary. But as commissioners, you all, of course, and the court needs to send a clear directive to road and bridge that states any law enforcement vehicle from the sheriff's office, or if it's a constable's unit that comes in, goes in and comes out. It is a priority.
I agree.
Because those need to be back on the street patrolling our streets.
I agree.
That's what I'm asking.
We can sponsor an item for the next meeting, giving that directive to Road and Bridge.
Yes.
That's fine. I am completely in agreement with moving forward in that direction.
Yes.
But if that's the case, then I would just kind of ask that we would possibly look at this issue for those concerns, and to go ahead and evaluate, between your items and of course the items of the court, to go ahead and move forward there. But I think that if we can maybe consider removing this to bring this item back to the next meeting and make that clear directive before we can do that.
I wanted to ask Leo a question on this item.
Sure. Oh, you want to take it in?
Yes.
Okay. So then in that case, for that purpose, if there's a request for legal on that matter for legal consultation, correct, Commissioner?
Yes.
Okay. Then if with that, the court will consider that in executive session. All right. So let the record reflect that I believe we're ready to move into executive session. Accounts payable? Do we have anything else that would be pending in executive session to go ahead and do that before warrants and accounts? Yes.
For the budget amendments, I know we submitted one day. Did I understand correctly that we
We're going to be discussing that, correct? With that, we're going to go ahead and proceed with item number 31. Executive session, meet in closed session to, I'm sorry, I'll get you out of the way, Mr. Valdez. I don't want to keep you. Warrant spending. Outside of warrant spending, do we have anything out there for, only modification was for that one invoice, correct, with that, but that's an accounts payable. Very well. Warrant spending, have you all reviewed those? Those have been provided on your review. Motion has been made by Commissioner Ramos. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Rios. Discussion? Being that there is none, all those in favor, please raise your right hand. Unanimous. I'll move forward to items. Give me 1 second here.
Court.
Item number 34, accounts payable. Accounts payable has been provided with a list. I just want to make sure that y'all are clear.
I mean, we can wait for those.
We have after the budget amendments. Correct. Thank you, Ms. Vargas, for catching that one. All right, you're good to go then. On that matter, we'll go ahead and go into executive session. Item number 31, executive session, closed session, meet in closed session to deliberate the following matters and as authorized by the Texas Government Code. A, section 551.071, consultation with attorney. Commissioners Court will meet in closed session to seek the advice of its attorney about pending or contemplation litigation, settlement offers, or in a matter of which the duty of the attorney and Commissioners Court under Texas disciplinary rules of professional conduct of the State Bar of Texas clearly conflicts with the Texas Government Code, Chapter 551. Item number 1, adoption of countywide public information request policy. Item number 2, possible adoption of countywide policy for motor vehicle accidents. Item number 30, discussion and possible appropriate action to approve fiscal year 25 budget amendments. Item number, there was one other item that y'all requested. Closed session. Item number 25, discussion and appropriate action regarding installation of mailboxes. Those are the only 4 items, correct? Let the record reflect that the court will retire into executive session on Wednesday, June 11th, 2025 at 7:18 p.m.